The little girl had never spoken a single word in her entire life, yet the moment she saw a struggling single father kneeling beside a broken park bench, tears rolled down her cheeks as she reached for his hand. Doctors, therapists, and the world's most expensive specialists had all failed to unlock her silence. No one could have imagined that an ordinary father carrying nothing but love, patience, and his own broken heart would become the reason an impossible miracle finally happened. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel to become part of our growing community. Magnus Sterling was one of the wealthiest businessmen in Europe. His companies stretched across industries, his name appeared on magazine covers, and people admired the empire he had built. Yet every award on his office shelf reminded him of one painful truth. His 7-year-old daughter, Elodie, had never spoken since the day she was born. Medical experts confirmed that her hearing was perfect and her vocal cords were healthy. They believed the silence came from deep emotional trauma caused by losing her mother during childbirth. Magnus spent millions searching for answers, but every new treatment ended with the same heartbreaking disappointment. Elodie communicated only through gentle smiles, drawings, and quiet gestures. Although she never spoke, Elodie loved spending afternoons outdoors. Every weekend her nanny took her to the city's botanical gardens, where she watched butterflies dance among colorful flowers. It was the only place where her anxious expression softened into peaceful curiosity. One sunny afternoon, another visitor arrived with his young son. His name was Callum Pearce, a widowed carpenter raising 6-year-old Finn alone after losing his wife to cancer. Life had been difficult since her passing. Callum worked long hours repairing old furniture while doing everything possible to give Finn a happy childhood. Money was always scarce, but kindness never was. Near the center of the garden stood an old wooden bench with loose boards. While waiting for his son to finish feeding ducks, Callum noticed that the bench had become unsafe. Without expecting payment or recognition, he borrowed simple tools from the maintenance shed and carefully repaired the damaged wood. Elodie watched every movement from nearby. She had spent years surrounded by people trying to fix her. This was the first time she had quietly observed someone choosing to fix something for complete strangers. When Callum finished, he gently brushed away the sawdust, smiled with satisfaction, and walked away without telling anyone what he had done. The simple act fascinated Elodie. From that afternoon forward, she searched for Callum each weekend. Sometimes he repaired a loose fence. Sometimes he cleaned litter scattered beside walking paths. Other times he simply sat beside Finn, listening patiently as his son described imaginary adventures with birds and squirrels. Callum never realized the silent little girl sitting nearby was carefully watching every expression on his face. Magnus eventually noticed the pattern. Curious, he introduced himself to Callum and thanked him for improving the garden. Callum shrugged modestly. He explained that every child deserved safe places to laugh and explore. Magnus admired the sincerity behind those words. For years he had hired specialists with impressive degrees, but none possessed the quiet compassion this ordinary father showed every weekend. Soon the two fathers became friends. Finn naturally included Elodie in his games, even though she never spoke. Instead of asking questions about her silence, he happily accepted every smile, drawing, and gesture she offered. They built tiny houses from fallen twigs, floated paper boats across small streams, and collected colorful leaves for imaginary treasure maps. For the first time since her birth, Elodie looked genuinely carefree. One afternoon Finn accidentally tripped while chasing a butterfly and scraped his knee. Tears filled his eyes, but before Callum could reach him, Elodie rushed forward. She wrapped her small arms around Finn, desperately trying to comfort him. Then something extraordinary happened. Without realizing it, she whispered one trembling word. "Okay." The sound was so soft that only Callum heard it at first. His eyes widened. Magnus turned in disbelief. Elodie immediately covered her mouth, frightened by what had happened. No one spoke. Tears streamed down Magnus' face as he slowly knelt beside his daughter. Years of silence had been broken by a single gentle word born from compassion rather than pressure. Doctors later explained that Elodie had never truly lost the ability to speak. Fear and emotional trauma had locked her voice away. Watching Callum's constant kindness taught her something every expensive therapy had failed to provide. She finally felt emotionally safe. Instead of celebrating with interviews or publicity, Magnus quietly thanked Callum for giving his daughter something money never could. Callum insisted he had done nothing special. He simply treated Elodie like every other child. Those words changed Magnus forever. He realized that his desperate search for miraculous treatments had unintentionally surrounded his daughter with expectations instead of simple joy. Determined to honor what he had learned, Magnus transformed one floor of his company headquarters into a family wellness center where employees could bring their children after school. He funded public playground renovations, community gardens, and free counseling programs for grieving families. Most importantly, every project focused on creating places where children could simply feel accepted. As months passed, Elodie's vocabulary slowly grew. She laughed. She sang simple songs beside Finn. She thanked gardeners who planted flowers. Every new word became another beautiful reminder that healing cannot be rushed. One bright spring afternoon, the botanical garden reopened after receiving generous renovations funded by Magnus and designed with Callum's volunteer advice. Families filled every path with laughter. Near the entrance stood the same wooden bench Callum had repaired months earlier. A small bronze plaque had been attached beneath the seat. It read that kindness is the strongest foundation any person can build because it repairs hearts no tool can ever reach. Elodie walked toward the bench holding Magnus' hand. Callum and Finn waited nearby. With complete confidence, Elodie looked at the man who had unknowingly changed her life forever. This time her voice was clear. She thanked him for fixing more than a broken bench. She thanked him for helping repair her heart. There was not a dry eye among the families gathered in the garden. Callum hugged his own son, realizing that the greatest lessons children learn are not taught through speeches but through everyday acts of compassion. Magnus finally understood that being a successful father mattered far more than being a successful billionaire. Elodie discovered that courage begins with feeling safe enough to let the world hear your voice. Before we reach the end of this story, leave a meaningful comment and tell us about one small act of kindness that changed your life or restored your faith in humanity. Your story could inspire someone who needs hope today. The years ahead brought many changes, but one memory remained unforgettable. It was not the day Elodie spoke fluently or the day newspapers celebrated her remarkable progress. The moment everyone treasured most was the quiet afternoon when an ordinary single father repaired an old park bench without expecting anything in return. His simple choice created a ripple of kindness that reached a frightened little girl's heart and awakened the voice she had carried inside all along. Sometimes the greatest miracles are not performed by wealth, fame, or power. They begin with ordinary people choosing compassion when no one is watching, proving that love, patience, and genuine kindness can accomplish what the world once believed was impossible. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey.